Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. I've got perspective analysis commentary from 9 different XRP chart analysts. And I want to share a post from an XRP community member who pointed out something which I found rather fascinating. And the reason I want to share it with you is because it highlights just how quickly the price action for XRP can change. Now, given that we've been living through this in real time for the last few weeks, I don't think that I'm going to have to do some heavy lifting here to persuade any of you of that, but it serves as an incredible reminder. And in fact, I will state this at the outset of this video. If indeed, and I'm not saying it will, but if history is to sufficiently rhyme with itself, then we would be, based on previous price action, we would be 6 days away right now, 6 days away from XRP hitting a brand new all-time high. Now, I'm not literally predicting that, but it's a fun little thing to highlight, because even though we don't know exactly when XRP is finally going to hit a new all-time high, as far as I'm concerned, it's a virtual certainty. It really, really does a great job illustrating the point. Also, I gotta mock this. I'm just gonna mock this in the beginning of the video, and then we're just not gonna talk about it. So, as you well know, by now, XRP hit a cycle high today at $1.95. And who's being a little stick in the mud? Of course it's Cointelegraph. Man, these guys do not like them some XRP. Every now and then they'll post something that's reasonable and seems unbiased. Fair enough. But for the whole time I've been in crypto, 7 years now, they will frequently post nonsense. And clearly they have this bias. They have this tilt against XRP. And it's not a good look. It's not a good look, Cointelegraph. Knock it off. Look at this headline. XRP, on the day that XRP damn near hits its cycle high from last cycle, near $2, this is the headline. XRP price soars to 43-month highs, but is the rally over for now? And then the most ridiculous part of this is that, for those of you not looking, I'll describe it. There's a picture of the XRP coin with arms and legs, which is a little freaky, it's a little strange. It's a little strange. But it's sitting there looking sad on the steps, and it's just getting rain. Get out of the rain, bitch. Like, do you have an umbrella? You got opposable thumbs, apparently, even though you're a coin. Get the hell out of that damn rain. So this is what the Cointelegraph displays. A sad XRP on the day where it's just rampaging upward to in terms of price. Like, what the hell is this? This is so stupid. Can you just stop letting your bias bleed very obviously into almost everything that you publish on your damn website? It really grinds my gears, son, and burns my biscuits. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, to be clear, it's not my stance that we can't see a pullback. I mean, I mentioned this in my last video, so I'll just be brief on this, but obviously when we hit a $1.61, that was notable resistance. Tons of analysts said, hey, this could be really hard to break through. Wouldn't you know it, we went back down to about $1.30, and then a week later, we're living through it, rampage back to the upside, got to a $1.95 24-hour high, cycle high, and wouldn't you know it, it's resistance. So we're at a $1.88 at the time that I'm recording this. But there really is resistance here. Now, the good news is once we break through that, not a whole lot of sell orders. Order book's looking a little thin up there, which means that once we break through that, there's a really good chance we're just going to melt to the upside. Like it's a melt up, not a melt down, to hit a new all-time high. And that will be resistance too, obviously. But that's where we're at right now. And so there's also this in conjunction with everything I'm just sharing. So there's this post from chart analyst Ali Martinez, and he said, historically, Bitcoin has surged in the December following U.S. presidential elections with gains of 30% and 46% in the last 2 cycles. If history repeats, we could see Bitcoin closing the year in the $125,000 to $140,000 range. Okay, and so the way that I try to word it, I mean, I used to frequently say, you know, if history repeats, but more precisely, it's like, I mean, maybe I'm splitting hairs here, but it's like if history kind of rhymes with itself, it's not actually going to be the same, literally. But if you have that type of move to the upside, can you imagine what that means for XRP? That much money flowing into the space? It will be insanity. Take a look at this post from chart analyst E. Greg Crypto. He calls it the big fall. And the reason he calls this the big fall, it's an XRP USD chart. This chart is inverted. So if the candle goes down, that's actually good. And so he's having a little fun with it, obviously. And he wrote, the big fall, $20 to $27. Just 40 days ago, on October 20th, 2024, skepticism was everywhere. If we close above $2, FOMO will ignite. And if history repeats with a similar percentage move, we're looking at double digits between $20 and $27. And so, folks, like, that is obviously plausible. I'm not predicting it, but my God, if we see it, it will not surprise me in the least. And I will say, as I say frequently in videos when I talk about, double-digit price action, it is heavily dependent ultimately on how much money flows into Bitcoin, because those profits, people will take profit from Bitcoin. A certain amount of it will flow into XRP and, of course, other coins, and it cycles through the space. So the crazier things get with Bitcoin, the better it is for you as an XRP holder. Even if you don't hold Bitcoin, doesn't matter. You should want that. You should definitely want that. Here's a post from chart analyst Dark Defender. He says, XRP touched $1.95 and then bounced back to our Fibonacci level at $1.88. This level is precise, and it's kind of funny. I got to note again, it's $1.88 at the time that I'm recording this anyway. And he's been talking about that level for a long time. And so anyway, as we always say, we must stay above $1.88 for at least 3 candles. The first step is to stay 12 hours. So that would be 3 4-hour candles, as he notes in parentheses there, above that level, followed by 3 times 1. So that just means 1 day above. And he's saying if you could do that, maybe burst to the upside is the implication there, obviously. But if Bitcoin tanks to the downside, as is always the case, XRP is likely to follow. And given that we're at a key resistance level, could happen anyway. Not the end of the world if it happens. I talked about that in my last video. It just doesn't matter. Just like a week ago when XRP went from $1.61, $1.62, whatever it was, to about $1.30. Didn't matter. Didn't mean the bull run was over. It sure as hell wasn't. As evidenced by what the hell just happened today. Just saying. Even though we got a sad 4-limbed XRP coin sitting in the rain with the opposable thumbs, but apparently doesn't know how to use a damn umbrella. Like no damn freaking Cointelegraph. It really steams my vegetables. Anyway, here's a post from 604 XRP community member, and this is a good point, which is why this is what I was referencing at the outset of the video, and it really does illustrate how quickly things can happen. And so he shared the following just this morning, as XRP was running. So at the time, XRP was at $1.84 this morning. For those who look at the screen, this is the price that I'm mentioning, where I'm circling right here. And he says, don't think most people realize this. Back in 2017, when XRP went on its all-time high run to $3.31 to $3.84, exchange dependent. And so obviously, I'll pause note, he's referencing that depending on who you ask and how they're pulling the data, they'll disagree on what the all-time high is. In fact, for instance, like Live Coin Watch, they show $3.92 for the all-time high. But that's a conversation for a different video. Anyway, I'm just reading what it says. So back in 2017, when XRP went on its all-time high run, it only took 6 days for XRP to get to its all-time high from the current price we're at now of $1.84. So where I'm circling on the screen, that was it. 6 days later, we did hit that high. We absolutely did. Happens fast. And so, in fact, that whole portion of the bull run from roughly the middle of December until January 4th, all-time high 2018, it took about 2.5 weeks. That's it. That's how much time you have when this thing really, really starts going here. I mean, if history is to rhyme, of course. It's going to look a little bit different. But obviously, in terms of what we should expect, XRP is doing exactly what history tells we should expect it to do, which is to say it run like crazy, as it has been for weeks now. It's exciting as hell. I love this. Yeah, so anyway, that's how quick from $1.84 to, depending on where you're looking at, 331, 384, 390, 392, whatever. That was it, 6 days. And so the exciting thing, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, and I talked about more extensively in my last video, is after that $2 mark roughly, there are not a lot of sell orders, at least not now. I mean, if they pop up, we'll talk about it, but that means you can just melt to the upside. There's almost nobody trying to sell in those ranges. But there is notable resistance right around that $2 mark. There is, and I talked about that in my last video, so I won't go further in depth here. But yeah, absolutely. But either way, you eventually get through it. Like, we're in a bull run here. This is not over. Anyway, and then he says, I was fortunate enough to experience the 2017 bull run, but I forgot how fast XRP went up until I saw this. Whether we go up that fast again this time, who knows? But it shows how fast things can change quickly. Yeah, that's a great post. I'm glad he shared that there. And for good reason, broadly circulated 103,700 views on that. It's a great point. And so, And so he's been around, it looks like at least as long as because I've been here. So I've been here since November 10th, 2017. I jumped into crypto, first bought XRP a week later, November 17th, 2017. Been holding ever since, never sold a single XRP in my life, although this cycle will be different in that regard. I certainly count on it anyway. So I haven't literally forgotten what it's like, but I gotta tell you, I get what he's saying because it just like slaps different when you're actually living through it. You know what I mean? It's a good time. I'm having a good time. You having a good time? I'm having a killer time. Here's a post from chart analyst Nick Crypto Crusader. 3.4 million XRP traded in just 1 minute. Now, mind you, this was last night before the latest move to the upside for XRP price-wise. 3.4 million traded in just 1 minute. And so he says, this is absolutely unreal volume. And it goes to show you how fast this entire space can change overnight. And oh, yes, it did, didn't it? He says, I truly do believe we are about to watch XRP flip Solana next. And it has a very high probability of flipping ETH this cycle too. Yeah, and you know, that might happen. I'm not going to make a prediction as to whether or not we flip ETH. Solana, that one just seems too obvious. How could I not call that one? It's going to get flipped. But for ETH, we'll see. It's certainly plausible. I hope it happens. It's not going to flip Bitcoin. Certainly not this cycle anyway. XRP will not. It's clear that humans are behaving the same as they did in every previous cycle. Money, broadly speaking, starts with Bitcoin, then flows in other coins. There's no evidence to the contrary. XRP's not hitting number one. Sorry to break your little heart out there. But I think you're going to make it. I think you can still achieve your life-changing wealth without that. It doesn't actually matter. But isn't this volume crazy? So yeah, XRP is going to come back. It's going to take that number 4 spot. It's going to knock out Tether at number 3 spot. And it might knock out ETH and take that number 2 spot. That could happen. Here's another post from Nick. He says, XRP is 78% away from creating a new all-time high. The second that XRP breaks over that 2017/2017 all-time high, the most violent XRP move in history begins. The crypto space today is extremely different than 2017/2018. We have so many more investors involved, so much more money, and media attention has grown significantly. A new all-time high on XRP today will most likely full send it beyond Ethereum's current market cap just from FOMO alone. Thankfully, we positioned ourselves during the bear market when no one wanted to touch XRP and or crypto. Spot on. That's absolutely, yeah, I agree with the sentiment totally. So there's way more people in crypto. So if 2 cycles ago, XRP could hit almost $4, what do you think happens now that there's infinitely more people compared to that, right? There's way more people, way more money sloshing about. XRP's got legal clarity. It's been artificially suppressed for years. It's consolidated for almost 7 years. It has broken out, obviously, very obviously. What do you think happens here? It's going to get even more bananas, if you ask me. Like that's absolutely what I expect. Man, this is a good time. But I tell you, getting into crypto 7 years ago, it's one of the best decisions that I've made in my entire life. It's the best financial related decision I have ever made in my entire life, unquestionably. Oh, it's been life changing, absolutely. It's just wild. It's just wild. The amount I think about, I'm not going to say it, but like I think about the amount of money I put in versus what it's worth now, just having held this long. It's completely outrageous, and I'm very thankful for it. And we're all living through this. I'm sure it's the same case for so many of you listening. And by the way, if you're new, don't feel down about that. Like there was a time, like when I jumped in 2017, I was like, oh, I'm kind of late to the party. Now you're fine. There's almost no humans in crypto. You're going to be fine. Hang around for another decade, and then you can say the same thing as me. It's like, it's going to be fine, okay? There's going to be way more people. The best is very obviously yet ahead, even though there will be tons of pullbacks along the way. If you're talking about like over a span of a decade, of course, market cycles, totally get that. But man, way more money is going to be. And then the attention, because here's the thing. Nobody wanted to buy, not literally, but nobody wanted to buy XRP at 49 cents a few weeks ago. Way more people want it now that it costs more. Think about that. I've been telling you that, of course, humans would behave the same with XRP, which is to say FOMO on green candles, just like they do with any other coin. There's not something about XRP that makes it so that the humans that have the same DNA that make them act stupid as hell to FOMO into stuff it just doesn't apply to XRP. And by the way, that's not to say if you recently bought XRP, I'm not saying that you are stupid. What I am saying is that broadly speaking, there are a lot of just lemming retailers out there who will hear the news and they'll jump in. The smart thing to do, and I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold, you do whatever you want. But if you're going to, and I'm sure some of this probably applies to some of you if you're new and listening, to have bought on a pullback. So like after, for instance, we hit $1.61 and pulled back. If you bought closer to $1.30 after that, then you probably made a pretty freaking smart move, because you bought on the red when it was more scary to do so. So if there's another move down here, so many people will view that as an actual opportunity. So that's the smart that's the smart type of behavior. And there is still opportunity in the bull run, obviously, including for XRP. Like I firmly believe this thing's going way higher. I don't know how high, but I do believe it's going way, way higher. Here's a post also. This one's from Charting Guy, and I love this. He's talking about Bollinger Bands here, and I've been talking about this since analysts in our community started regularly talking about it back in like April. So you've heard me talk about it a lot, how they're the tightest in history. Oh, they've broken out. And I mentioned that as it started to break out within the last, couple weeks or whatever it's been. Look at this now. It looks like the beginning of the last cycle and the cycle before that. Look at how it just breaks out. It's expanding, which is exactly what we were predicting would happen. Every analyst under the sun that's reputable was saying this. And so here he wrote, XRP plus 283% for November. Bollinger Band's expansion has much more room to go, and RSI is now over 70. This monthly candle close with these two things is confirming this bullish move, and it's looking very similar to March 2017. Well, how about that? Yeah, because XRP had two major runs in 2017. March, when it went from ultimately like half a penny up to 42 cents or so, then consolidated for about half a year, went down a little bit, and then went from about 20-something cents to almost $4. So it's looking similar yet again, is it not? History rhymes with itself, doesn't it? Here's a post from Dom, chart analyst. He says, there's something weird about this XRP pump. Now, this post is from November 16th. I'm going to read it, and then I have an update on this topic, actually. And so he says, Bitcoin dominance is not tanking. Any other time, XRP pumped over 100%, it was when Bitcoin dominance was tanking. Check all gray boxes. You can see on the chart what he's referencing. And then he said, this can mean two things. Number one, this is a fake out and not a true pump, would be insane and unlikely in my opinion. Or number two, this is just the appetizer to what's actually coming, also known as money isn't even flowing out of Bitcoin yet. This is all new money or money flowing from other alts. And that's the thing. Number two, obviously, that's the one, right? I mean, it's much easier to believe compared to November 16th. Now, I thought it was obvious then too, and Dom thought the same thing basically, but it's even more obvious now. And so look at this post. This is from just yesterday. He says, there's something weird about this XRP pump. Part 2, Bitcoin dominance is not tanking. Any other time XRP pumped over 100%, it was when Bitcoin dominance was tanking. Check all gray boxes. Also known as XRP's past pumps have been fueled by Bitcoin liquidity that hasn't even happened yet. Okay, so that's obviously true. Now, I will note today, and I'm sure I'll pull up data on this in future videos. I don't have it planned for now. It doesn't matter. But it is true, like at least today, there are more people saying it looks like perhaps alt season is actually starting now. Maybe that's debatable. Of course, it's debatable. But part of the reason that people have been saying that today, and I don't have examples pulled up for this video again, but Bitcoin dominance went down a little bit. But still, it doesn't matter. Like the surge we saw today, even if in some sort of minor way impacted by that, even if that's the case, it still is basically running with a Bitcoin dominance absolutely tanking. It didn't in a single day. That's insane. So wait till that money does cycle into XRP from Bitcoin, which has happened every cycle in history. Just wait. There's this post from chart analyst Bobby A. He says, from current levels, a December candle similar to this November candle puts the price of XRP between $7 to $8. Let that sink in. Yes, it happens that fast. Oh, indeed, it does happen that fast. So think about it. Can you imagine that type of performance yet again in December? In December, then you're talking about, we're a few hours away from midnight from at the time I'm recording this anyway. Tomorrow is December, for me anyway. You're talking about, so that month, getting to $7 to $8 if you see something like this again. And it can happen that quick. So I'm not going to predict it. I don't know if it will, but it could. Here's a post from chart analyst Javon Marks. The lights are on, XRP is broken out, and its prices are roaring and soaring. The breakout in hindsight was a matter of when and not if, and new all-time highs can be coming in quickly. History may not always repeat itself exactly, but often it does rhyme. Spot on, Javon Marks. And then there was also this post. It's from Leb Crypto. He's just warning, hey, from $1.96, you could see a pullback. Doesn't matter. He still believes that, because he thinks that Bitcoin could pull back from here. And he may be right. I don't know. Either way, there's still an opportunity to the upside. So I just thought I'd mention that to wrap up the video. But my God, there's so much opportunity here. The best is yet ahead, unquestionably. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.